Talk with Tyson Brighton. Come on for the ride. We'll take you inside. Non-stop rock talk. It's non-stop rock talk with Tyson Brighton. Come on for the ride. We'll take you inside.
Welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. I'm your host, Tyson Brighton. On today's show, I am very happy to welcome from the Bret Michaels Band, guitarist and band leader, Pete Evick. Pete, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going great, buddy. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, cool. It's incredibly cool to talk to someone with a Warren D. Martini guitar and a Vinnie Vincent shirt on.
Well, I think it kind of shows you how much I love the era.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what? The Vinnie Vincent shirt just came in the mail today, and I was like, this is going to be perfect to wear for the interview.
Dana and Mark are good friends, man. They're wonderful human beings, man, and they really believe. And Bobby Rock is, too. I forgot Bobby's on your shirt there, too.
I love Bobby, and I love Mark. I mean, I've had them both on my show, and they are fantastic people.
Bobby's a very inspiring human being, man. His health and just his story is amazing.
Yeah, he's such a good guy. Actually, I wrote a book for a Canadian artist but we never finished it. So I don't know if you ever picked up his book, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about the whole Vinnie Vincent invasion thing, right? About him being in the band and doing the first album. So I was kind of picking his brain on how he did it for publishing, and he went the whole Amazon route. So he was helping me out, giving me all these tips. Like I just emailed him and said, "Hey, Bobby, do you think you can help me with it?" He's like, "Sure, man, no problem." He was amazing. But it never came to fruition. We have not finished this book, but maybe one day. So it's all good. But I mean, it seems you're always busy playing with Bret. You guys got a lot of shows this summer, it looks like.
We always have a lot of shows.
I know you do, and I love that. That's amazing.
To be honest with you, I was looking at the calendar today thinking it was a little bit light, but you know, we're always out there. We're every week we're playing, so we're fortunate. We're fortunate to be able to keep going.
Well, I love that you guys keep coming back here, because you and I seen you back in, was that January, I think? And you were sick as a dog, unfortunately.
That was terrible. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man. But I mean, you still took the time to say hello, and you know, it was awesome.
Of course, I always will.
Funny story is, if you remember, our 10-year-old, 11-year-old daughter was with us. And all the way home, because she knew that Bret was out the door, and remember that whole thing, you're like, Bret, you know, like, and she's like, he was right outside the door. I could have met him.
She should have spoke up. Maybe would have changed everything.
Well, I did. You know what? You don't want to. I don't like pushing those things either. It's like, and I didn't know until we got in the car how much it meant to her, and I was like, oh,
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But now she's a huge Bret Michaels fan after that show. That was her first concert.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And so it was a good memory for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she didn't know really what was going on. She's like, where are we? What are we doing?
Right.
So it was cool. But I was thinking the other day, and I don't actually know how you ended up in Bret's band initially.
So the story, it depends on where you want to start the story. It's very complicated. When CC left Poison in 92, I got the number and made the call to make an audition and send in all my tapes and all that stuff, and to HK Management. And then that obviously didn't work out. But years later, when Bret started to do the solo tour, I called and got myself put on a bunch of dates with my band at Evick as the opening act for him as a solo artist for 2 years in a row. We did a bunch of dates with him, and me and him got along. his guitar player was a good friend of mine, was leaving the band and suggested that maybe I be the guy. And there was never even an audition. I was just Steve left and I joined the band.
Wow. That's cool. That's
and
awesome.
then Bret decided to let me bring my drummer and bass player with me. So for the first 10 years that I was in Bret's band, it was my band. Evick was his band. So
Okay, cool. So Eric's not playing with you guys now, Eric Brittingham. You have a different.
no, I see Eric a lot, and me and him do other things together, but he does not want to be on the road. He doesn't want that lifestyle anymore. You know, if it was something where it was a couple shows a year or something like that, he'd probably be into it, but the grind is just not for him anymore.
That's cool. I mean, that happens, right? Guys.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
Yeah.
you get older and you're like, I just want to be home. I don't blame him.
Well,
He did it for a long time.
He enjoys times with his kids and Eric is one of those guys that I'll take a bullet for, man. He's one of the most amazing human beings you'll ever meet, and just kind and cool. And you know, I think I've told you before. And whatever it is he wants to do, I support. I wish he was on stage with me every night. What an honor it was to get to play with that guy for so many years. And like I said, we do a couple things once in a while, some charity events and stuff that he'll play in, and he plays on my songs. I have a track with him, me, Reb Beach, and Chad from Festival Pussycat that I was just working on right before you called, and he's great. Eric's great. That's all I can say.
When's that supposed to come out then?
I don't know. It's me and Chad's project, and we go back and forth because I like to write a song and release it, and Chad's like, let's get a bunch of songs under our belt before we let anyone hear anything. And I love Chad so much that you know, I do things my way in my world. When I do my solo stuff, I do whatever I want, how I want. So when I'm working with someone like Chad or Eric, I try to be more of a team player and let, you know, I get to do things my way when I'm doing them my way. So I try to be a little bit of a team player. And so I think we'll write a few more songs, and I'll let this happen Chad's way.
That's cool. I mean, I was just thinking about, I would look back on our very first interview, which I think was like 4 or 5 years ago, and you had just released 99 Red Balloons.
That's right.
And I was like, man, where did that time go? That's crazy.
Time went by fast. I was talking to someone the other day. I guess there's some theory that there really was some kind of time lapse thing happen where we've all missed a few years. It feels that way. It feels like there's like 3 years that just disappeared. I know we went through COVID, but something feels funky, right?
Yeah.
Like, where's the time?
Yeah, it's like, how did that go by so quick? Especially when I look at the amount of episodes and looking back on all these episodes I have, and I'm like, that was 5-6 years ago. And I'm like,
Right?
how the hell did that happen?
Right. You had the proof that the time was there, but something's funky about it, man. There's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe COVID kind of slowed maybe it made everything go by quick, or maybe we wanted it to go by quick because
Yeah,
we
right.
just wanted to get out of that, right?
Right. That's it.
How long were you guys off from playing? How long were you off from playing?
You know, we ended up doing a lot of online stuff. It got real popular for
I remember.
bands like us, Lita Ford, a handful of people. These big corporations were trying to find a way to do things for their employees. So a lot of times we would do these gigs, like acoustic gigs, where the band would set up in a warehouse, and we would Zoom into, 300 or 400 people that were having an online kind of, corporate Christmas party or something like that. A lot of creative things like that happened that kept a certain kind of person in the music industry working. Someone that was able to, you had to want to do it. You had to be able to do it. I don't know if you ever see, I do a weekly show. I do it tonight.
Yes.
A weekly streaming show called On the Stage It platform, where I just sit on my couch and sing songs with an acoustic guitar.
That's
And I've been doing that before Stage It, and it's a great revenue stream, but you got to really learn how to play to a camera instead of an audience. That's tough.
Yeah. I did one. Someone asked me, they're like, you should do like a live stream. And I did it from my apartment and like did all my favorite songs of like obscure 80s, a lot of 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Like I did
Yeah, of
Enough's
course.
Enough. And I also did like the Marvelous Three because I love Butch Walker and like some just some
Yeah. Did you do Freak of the Week?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. Because I figured that was probably the one that most people would know. It was probably.
I remember riding in a van in my cover band when we thought rock was dead and that song came out.
Yeah.
I gotta shake. I think he's Elvis. I think where's the coolest suede shoes when he comes in with the blues? Something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what a great song. Butch Walker is so great.
And you know, I know he is. And the funny thing was, I did not know I just heard the song on the radio. I did not know it was Butch Walker because I knew
South Gang.
part of South Gang. And
I opened up with South Gang.
Did you
back
really?
In the day. Yeah.
Cool.
They were from Atlanta. We were only 2 states over. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because they're from Georgia, right? Like from Rome or something like that.
Yeah. Well, from the Atlanta area. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I knew he had the Floyds or Floyd's Funk Revival, and then the Floyds. But then
Floyd's Funk Revival. I played with those guys too.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But then when that record came out, that solo record, I mean, there's not a bad song on that thing. It is one of the most well-written bodies of music in history.
Which one do you mean? Which the Marvelous Three?
The Hey album or whatever.
The Hey album, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, he did the Math and Other Problems. They did as well. The one before that, which was really good, but that Hey album was.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some killer songs on that.
What a great record.
Yeah. Vampires in Love, and going back to kind of the end, and that song Lemonade, where he he does that the spiel. He's so funny too. Like he's that comedic.
Are you talking about the vocal thing?
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
The pickle and mouth technique.
Oh, that's on My Way. That's on his first solo album. That was on.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. That's right. That's
right. That was the pickle. Yeah, that was awesome. You can learn to sing like this guy.
Right. And you can run it through the computer. I don't sing so good.
Exactly. That was so good. I loved that first album. I mean, I saw him in Buffalo acoustically when that album came out, and it was just him and a guy on like a snare.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know, when I saw him do that, the venue had a grand piano, so he played Bohemian Rhapsody and just blew everybody away. He was great.
He's always great. I have not seen him in a long time. Like, he would come to Toronto periodically. He would play up here, but I don't think he's been up in quite a while.
Right.
Well, but every time and funny enough, we went to see him. I was at a club, and in walked Cece and Bobby Doll and Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were in town with doing the Poison Cinderella song, and all of a sudden there they were. I was like, oh, they must be fans too.
Every artist was a fan. Everyone wanted to get out and see Butch play, without a doubt.
It's crazy, man. He's so good. Now, besides that, like, I'm curious about you. I know you grew up pretty much in the 80s, and you're a fan. What were your favorite bands growing up from the era?
I started playing guitar at 5 years old. I was born in 72. 78, I started playing guitar, or 77. It was Kiss.
Yeah.
It was nothing but Kiss. My 4th grade talent show, I played Rip It Out off Ace Frehley's solo album.
Love that song.
No distortion. It just had my Les Paul plugged into an amp with no pedals or anything. It was just. I didn't sing or anything, and my guitar was probably out of tune. But that was 4th grade.
That's cool.
Then I went right to Van Halen.
Yeah.
6th grade, 1984. I remember playing Eruption in my talent show. I imagine it was terrible in my 6th grade talent show.
Yeah.
I was really, I went straight from Kiss to Van Halen. Quiet Riot, Rat, Twisted Sister. I can almost speak about it chronologically, what
Yep.
was important. And then Bon Jovi, Poison, gigantic Poison fan when it came out. It
Me
was
too.
gigantic. Again, a Bon Jovi fan. I loved a lot of it. The Warrant stuff. I was obsessed with. Firehouse stuff was great. I like some obscure bands. There's a band called Heaven Edge out of Philadelphia.
Love them.
Yeah. You know Heaven Edge.
I love them,
Yeah,
man.
song-
I love Heaven's Edge.
That song Skin to Skin.
Oh, such a good song. Skin to skin.
Yeah. Say you got such a will to live. Why don't you come and live with me? Said you could find better thing to do. Let me show you what I got to give. Yeah, I was deep in that stuff, man.
That's
I was deep.
cool, man. I love all the obscure stuff.
Babylon AD. You remember
Love
them?
Yeah, I've had Derek on. I just had Ron on the show not too long ago. I love those guys.
We used to play all that stuff in cover bands. I played all of that stuff.
Bango
We
the
used to
Bells.
We used to open with Skin to Skin. We would play Bango the Bells, the Dangerous Toy stuff. I loved all that
I
stuff.
love that stuff too.
Yeah, I was a big fan of everything that came at me at that point. Everybody had at least one great song. You know, I was a song guy. I just like songs.
I was kind of the same. Like I gravitated to so many of those bands because you'd see we had Much Music up here. Obviously, you guys had MTV, and we'll talk more about MTV in a minute. But I mean, whatever came on there, those are what my memories are. What was on? It was called the Pepsi Power Hour, is what we had
That's
up
right.
here, which was like the Headbangers Ball, right? So whatever was on there, you couldn't wait. I think it was Thursdays. You couldn't wait to get home at 4:00 on Thursday from school to watch the Pepsi Power Hour.
Right.
And that's where you found all the music, right?
Yep. I loved it all, but the early days were what was important to me. The Quiet Riot, Twisted Sister, Rat stuff, and Kiss without the makeup. That was big stuff to me. You know what I mean? It was molding a young kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really young into it. In 1984, I was in 6th grade, and you know, Judas Priest. I was a big Priest guy, and you know, I was at that age where that stuff that they all claim that they hate now, I loved. I loved the Turbo record, man.
I
You
love
know what
Turbo
mean?
too. I still listen to it. I love that album.
Locked In. I played Locked In at one of my talent shows too. You got me locked in.
Really? That's so cool. I love Parental Guidance too. I love that song.
Oh yeah. We don't need no. Yeah, it's great. And there was another song on that record. Rock You All Around the World.
Yes,
Remember
Rock
that?
You All Around the World.
All around the world.
All around the world.
We're gonna rock.
You. We're gonna rock you.
We're gonna roll. Yeah. I loved it, man. I loved that record a lot. Out in the Cold was a great song.
Yeah, the whole
You know,
thing. And even when they did Priest Live and they like on that album, they played a lot of Turbo, right?
Yeah, and it was a heavier mix.
Yeah.
Less keyboardy, you know what I mean? But I loved it. I loved that. I love that Crazy Night Kiss era. I love Turn on the
Me
Night
too.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I talk to Bruce Kulick once in a while about that. He's such a nice guy, and I'll send him a text sometimes. Like, I'll be like, Bruce, you got to go out there and go and just play the Bruce Kulick era.
Yes.
And his stuff. And I make set lists for him, and I text him, and he's so nice to me about it. But I'm sure every time he gets a new set list, he's like, why did I ever give Pete my number?
That's so fun. Well, I mean, he did that with Todd Kearns, right? They would go out and do,
Yeah,
which was
I'm
awesome.
like, but I get all jacked up with him. I'm like, let's take it on the road. I'll book it. Like, you know,
Yes.
I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's guys like me that would be, I would go see that for sure. I would love that.
I would go just to see him play some of that stuff off the Revenge record, man.
Yes.
Unholy and that.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain, I mean, I think everything that he played on, like Tears Are Falling, and I would want to hear that, and I'd want to hear Rise to It, and Off of Hot in the
One
Shade.
night we were in Vegas, and he was standing on the side of the stage, and right in the middle of the set, I walked up to him. In the middle of our set, I ran over to the soundboard and I went, the Crazy Night solo.
Yeah.
And he had a little grin about that. I love that stuff, man. And great music.
I mean, I'm like we said, I'm I was born in 74, so we're kind of around the same. We kind of, we're probably listening to a lot of the same stuff. So,
but I will tell you that I also love an enormous amount of the 90s stuff.
like the grunge stuff and
Not the grunge stuff.
the later on.
Gigantic Cootie and Blowfish fan.
Okay, cool.
But they were from kind of my area.
Right.
They were Carolinas, but I have an old videotape of when I was just out of high school playing a club called the Bayou in DC. And it was right before everything really changed and no one knew anything. And we played a night with Hootie and Dave Matthews. It's on the marquee. We were the first of those bands.
That's cool.
And, I love Sugar Ray. I love the Sugar Ray stuff. I'm a pop guy. The Goo Goo Dolls.
I'm the same.
I to this day, when I do my acoustic solo shows, I play "Name" from the Goo Goo Dolls.
Cool.
And it's one of the greatest songs ever written, if you ask me.
It's an amazing song.
The lyrics in that song are just, the scars are souvenirs you never lose. The past is never far. And you grew up way too fast. There's nothing to believe. The reruns all become our history. I mean, that's who we were. That's our generation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reruns all become our history. It has to be the greatest line written to our generation of all time. It speaks truth to us. We listened to our music and we watched our TV shows, and if you walk by the TV and you see, whatever show you watched back then pop on, it's like a history book. I'm a gigantic Johnny Resnick fan. A lot of those bands, again, just like the 80s, a lot of them I just like one song, but songs were great. Eve 6 had that song Inside Out.
I love that one.
I know, John. I love that song.
I was listening. You're right, though. Once the grunge thing was gone, I kind of gravitated towards those bands that were coming. I mean, I loved Matchbox 20 because Rob Thomas.
Matchbox 20. I can't believe I didn't mention it. They were saviors to my ears. There was good pop songs, and my first record, I signed a record deal in 1998 with a band called Some Odd Reason, and we were working with Richard Goddard as the producer. He's the guy that founded Blondie and the Go-Go's. And we recorded the entire first record, and it sounded so much like Matchbox 20, we had to redo it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was interesting because if you ever go back to the record now and listen, it has a lot of real heavy guitars. They used to pick on me about my 80s influence, even though we were in the late 90s, and that drive to play a heavier guitar is what saved us from just being another Matchbox 20 copycat. We went back in the studio and they let me rip on the guitar and turn it up a little bit more, and we got a more, kind of like the Lit thing. Lit was another.
They were hair band originally, were they not?
Yeah, I mean, those guys hang out and know the Warrant guys really, really well. And sometimes the bass player for Lit fills in for Warrant when they need. So that world was not nearly, so like Mark McGrath is a good friend of mine now. The guys in Lit are buddies of mine. Edwin McCain, all these guys. They were gigantic fans. The industry just needed to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I liked it when it changed, when those bands came out.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit happier.
Yeah, even Green Day, you go back now and you see Billy Joe goes into clubs and plays Van Halen songs. So you see that? There's videos of him and Michael Anthony sitting in a bar together playing. The influence was much bigger than the media made this story to wipe it all out. Everybody's a fan of everything. People love your music is your history, right? You can't, if Kurt Cobain didn't not listen to Van Halen. He was the age in which that's what you listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so true, right? I liked the band Tonic a lot. If you're
Tonic was great. What was that?
If you could only see. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do that song too.
Yeah, I used to do that one acoustically. I pull it out every once in a while. I love that song. I mean, Third Eye Blind was around too. I mean, he was in Rockstar.
Yeah, I love the we laugh all the time. I do that acoustic thing with my guitar player Dean Kramer and Chad from Faster Pussycat,
Yeah.
and Dean knows every word to that song, Third Eye Blind song.
Semi-charmed life.
So many fucking
Oh, I
words.
know, it's crazy.
He knows every word. It cracks me up when we do it.
I couldn't recite that. I know I couldn't. I could maybe like do half of it, but I haven't heard it in years, but it was such a good song. I actually saw Third Eye Blind and Tonic together, and it was a great show.
I saw the Spin Doctors, Chin Blossoms, and Cracker.
Those were
Do you remember the band Cracker?
Yes.
Yeah. They're from Virginia. Dave Lowry's a Virginia guy. He used to be before Cracker. There was a band called Camper Van Beethoven or something like that.
Okay.
But the Cracker stuff, I cracked up because we came from this 80s stuff where you want to write complex riffs. If you ever study the Cracker stuff, every single song is one progression, and he just uses dynamics to change to the chorus or the whatever. Cool. And I was super fascinated about that for a long time, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that you mention all those bands because I haven't thought. I probably still have CDs by half of them.
Right.
There was a bunch of other like bands that there was a band called The Hunger. I think they were out of Florida. They used to get airplay up here, but they were almost like they had some electronic in their music, but they just had this really heavy guitar sound, and I kind of gravitated towards that. I liked it, and then
I like that, like the Nine Inch Nails stuff and Stabbing Westward and that stuff.
I was just gonna say Stabbing Westward. I liked them too.
I love that stuff. I just never hooked into the Pearl Jam Nirvana thing.
I didn't either. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't mind 10 now. Like I can listen to it.
Well, when I look back, I understand the significance of Kurt Cobain. I understand what happened, and I understand the genius of what he was doing. There's no doubt about it. I get it. But it wasn't for me back then at all.
Me neither. I was like, what is going on? But I like Mother Love Bone.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
I really love those albums.
Probably, right?
Pardon me?
Did you like? I like Stone Temple Pilots. I thought they were
them
great.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all, but again, it's all just good songs. I just wanted good songs. That's all.
Yeah. And it was, I think how it was all done. And I listened to a lot of podcasts about this, and I think how it was all done where it was just like, okay, this is no good anymore. You can't listen to this anymore. So now you have to listen to this. And it's like, why though? Why? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
I always used to say, where did 10 million Bon Jovi fans go for 10 years?
Right.
And now they're back. Now everyone goes to see them. Like, you know what I mean? Well, where did they go for 10 years? What made you turn that off? You know what I mean?
And I was the guy I wasn't turning that off. I
never turned it off. Right.
I never turned it. Was what I liked. I mean, and Bret, the same thing though. Like I'm sure Poison had a rough go, when.
Interestingly enough, Poison never went to the clubs. They, I know they had a little bit of a downtime where they didn't play at all.
Yeah.
But they even through Native Tongue, they were doing amphitheaters. And then, somehow they managed to never have to sink back down.
Do you like the Crack a Smile album?
It's funny. No one ever asked that. They asked about Native Tongue. I do like Crack a Smile.
I love it because I love it.
Blues is great, and he plays great. And they challenged themselves as musicians on Native Tongue and Crack a Smile. They were so determined to show the world what they really had. That there's a lot of music on those two records, man.
Yeah, Lay Your Body Down is one of my favorite Poison songs ever. I mean, I love that 6/8, that feel that timing creates, right?
Yeah. Well, 6/8, 3/4. Bret writes a lot in 3/4. We have a song called "Nothing to Lose" on one of the solo records that Miley Cyrus sang on with us. That's in 3/4, and it's so natural for Bret to just do that. He feels that when he writes,
And what I was going to mention to you as I was thinking about it today, Bret's voice, because of the way he sang, he never really sang that really high, and he still sounds good today.
we talk about that from time to time. Bruce Fairbairn on the Flesh and Blood record pushed him pretty hard on some of that stuff, but Bret was always conscious of wanting to be able to sing this stuff in his 60s and 70s, and he was really smart to never push it somewhere that was just unrealistic.
Yeah,
he sounds great now.
He does.
He's more powerful than he ever was. His pitch is great. I work with him in the studio so much. I don't have, if I've ever had to put auto-tune on him, it's only simply because he nailed something with such emotion that it wasn't worth trying to retake the take for technical purposes, because he has such soul in his voice that, but I don't put the auto-tune on him. We just go with it, man. He's great, man. He's great. But being great is also knowing your boundaries. No one knows their boundaries like Bret.
That's funny. You know what? I have a great Poison story, and I've never told this on my show. When I was in grade 8, it was when Open Up and Say Ah came out. So I had this we were in a portable in grade 8, and I had this cool teacher, and he said, if you guys want to put up pictures above your desk, go ahead. He's like, but you can only put up 3. So anyways, this Open Up and Not. Remember when Metal Edge used to put out, like, if a band was putting out an album, they put out a whole issue of all pictures of Poison and articles and whatnot. Well, I took that whole magazine, and he went away for a week, and he came back, and the whole ceiling above my desk, probably like 20, 30 pictures, was all Poison.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was, I mean, I think back on that, and I was like, the teacher, he didn't even say anything. He just let me go with it, because he knew how much the music meant to me, right?
Yeah.
So he just let me run with it. It's kind of a geek moment, but it was kind of like thinking back on that. And I mean, this was, a lot of those pictures were in the heavy makeup years too.
Yeah.
Right. So
right.
he's probably looking at Cece and being like, what the heck? But he was actually kind of cool, because he said his buddy actually worked at Capitol Records and knew those guys. Oh,
right on. Yeah. Because it was the Capitals who picked him up after the first record. Yeah.
Right. I remember buying that tape on Enigma, like having the first tape that I had on Enigma.
Poison and Striper on Enigma Records.
Yeah. Who else was on Enigma? Wasn't Hurricane on Enigma too?
Oh, maybe. I don't. For some reason, I never knew the Hurricane stuff. It never wasn't much in them. I didn't love it for some reason. I know a lot of my friends really liked it. They must have been on Enigma, because they were always opening for Striper, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I liked, like, I'm On to You, and I liked it. I liked the album that Doug Aldrich did with them.
Right. I hear you, buddy.
But I think they had some songwriters come in as well and help them with that.
But let's just, being where you're from, let's talk about Bryan Adams.
Oh. Well, funny enough that you mentioned that. Bryan is playing tonight because the World Cup's starting on Friday. So Bryan Adams is playing in Toronto tonight.
Oh, man. And you're talking to me.
I just saw it on the news. I didn't even know. I think it was like a surprise thing.
I got you. His guitar player, Keith Scott. There's so much. The tasteful.
I agree.
Unbelievable.
I agree. Well, you want to hear something funny? I do Bon Jovi. I play in a Bon Jovi tribute up here.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Anyways, we just got an offer. This guy in Windsor wants to do 10 shows where we're this backup band doing a Poison, Bryan Adams, and Bon Jovi together.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
I've always wanted to do a Bryan Adams tribute band, but the tribute bands, the whole thing is the costumes and the shtick, and there's not much to Bryan to do. Do you know what I mean? It's a t-shirt.
We did one of those Rib Fests a couple of weeks ago, and the band before us was a Bryan Adams tribute, and
you've seen
what's
one?
that? Yeah.
Oh,
they
wow.
were really good. They were really, really good. But he did the Cuts Like a Knife look. He came out with, that leather jacket that Brian wore on Cuts Like a Knife. He kind of went with that look, which was kind of, I was like, okay, that's different. It's kind of cool that he did that.
Right. I'd love to see one. What are you do you play guitar in the tribute band, or do
I
you
play
sing?
guitar. Yeah.
You know, my acoustic shows, we almost every night we end our acoustic shows with Wild in the
Do you
Streets.
really? That's so cool. We do that on occasion. I think
it's our grand finale. I make a big speech about, you know, all night long we've played things we want you to hear, but I'm ending the night with something that I want to do. And you know, what an incredible, that song's super powerful to me. And Bon Jovi used to open with it on the Slippery When Wet tour.
I love that song. I always have.
I'm from a sacred part of town. It talks so tough that your feet don't touch the ground. It's a great song.
So good. And I mean, yeah, that album, like I think pretty much every song on that album I love. Maybe Social Disease, I still love it, but
Social Disease is the only one that I can give it, but it's a great song still. It's a great with the song. I liked I love the Bon Jovi, Bryan Adams, John Cougar Mellencamp storytelling songs more than the sexual innuendo songs. You know what I mean? You know,
yeah, he didn't, when they did that, like that didn't, Bon Jovi wasn't really their thing, was doing those sexual innuendo type of, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, even when he did do it, he was so good at it that, like Bad Medicine, that Bad Medicine is far superior to Let's Put the X in Sex.
That is true. You know what? That I forgot about that song, and You Make Me Rock Hard, Baby, All Night, which was the other song off that album, right?
Right.
That was those were Kiss songs that, I mean, I remember seeing them on TV and going, "This is, I don't know. I don't know about these ones."
Right. I'm with you. We feel the same about it all. It feels like we feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
now I want to talk about your books. I didn't realize that your first book, I believe, was The Moment That Makes Us.
Yeah. The Moments That Make Us.
And I just found out about it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. What can you tell me about that one?
Well, that one has absolutely nothing to do with the music business. Originally, I wrote that book when I was going through a divorce, and all I could think about was my kids. If the cover is me and both of my children's hands in the sand or whatever. Yeah. And the original title was, what was it? Oh my God, why can't I remember? I had this long title that dealt with the idea that, it was called Kids Are Resilient, but what about the adults they become?
That's a great title.
And I was, in my original point about the book, was writing about how all these people, all our generation was the first generation that really started having a lot of divorce. And we grew up my parents were together, but everyone else around, there was a lot of divorce. And our generation is the first bunch of children that grew up as kids of divorced families. And we're all fucked up. They're all fucked up. And so, when I was worried about my kids, everyone was like, "Oh, kids are resilient. This will be okay." And it just made me so furious. I started writing this book, and the book started in my childhood. And I was talking about things that had scarred me for the rest of my life. But as I was writing the book, it became The Moments That Make Us, because the publisher and me would talk a lot, and each chapter was about a very specific moment that as I was writing it, the first few chapters, she's like, each one of these stories is this like fraction of a second moment that changed your life. And so then the whole book changed, and she was like, this is much bigger than about divorce. This is a way more inspirational book about people using the moments in their life as guideposts to get where they become. And so it became that. To me, it's a book of inspiration and taking your adversities and some of the weird things that may have happened to you in your life and being proud of them, flying the colors and saying, this is why I am who I am. And this weird shit that happened to me when I was a kid is what turned me into the guy I am today. And I wanted to write it. The book is written in a way that I feel like no one's reading it as a guy that plays in front of, 1 million people a year or gets to do these rock star type of things. It's written as your neighbor, and it's written to inspire you to feel like you're invincible.
Wow. Is that still, can I still buy that book?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's still on Amazon.
Okay. That sounds like a great read. And
I would love you to read. I would love to hear what you think.
I'm going to get it. I haven't bought, I was going to buy the other one, the MTV one, but I might buy that one first because
buy them.
I will. I probably will. I mean, I read a lot. Right now I'm reading Desmond Child's book.
Oh, right on. Desmond's Had a Colorful Life.
Yeah. Have you read it? Do you know much about?
I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet, but I know a lot of what's in it.
Man, I was like I'm 100 pages in, and we haven't really touched on any music yet.
Right.
So,
that life he's had.
Yeah. But I'm glad I've been reading it. I mean, before that, I was reading. There's a book about the Philadelphia music scene. I don't know if you know that it came out, but
I did.
And it's about like Cinderella, Brittany Fox, Tangier, and all the bands.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It's. I think they're going to do another edition and a documentary. Johnny D.
Cool.
D. writes the foreword in it, and he talks about Krabby's in it.
Awesome.
And, it was a good read. It was. I think there could have been a little bit more. I wanted to know more.
There's always more. I've read 2 books now, and as soon as they're done, I go, God, I should have put this in it. Like that is a regret that never goes away. That's why you write another book.
That's right. So the other book is MTV Famous.
Yeah.
I just watched a documentary on my Android box. I think it was on Biography about MTV from the inception to the end of MTV. And it sounded like in the beginning, they had everything, in the right direction. They only wanted to do rock music. And then as the years went on, things changed. And then Warner sold to Viacom. And then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It changed hands and the recipe changes. But we lived in a life that the impact of that, it's similar to what it must have been like the first time there was a record player in a house. We get to experience that kind of excitement that we may never, something like that may never happen again. It was a cultural, the impact on pop culture because of MTV. We've never seen anything like that again. It just turned the world upside down.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm kind of curious about, has Bret ever talked about like that whole, what it was like for him to be in this thing? Of course he has, right?
I mean, 21 years, and me and him spent a lot of time traveling, just me and him. When we're out on buses, me and him ride one bus, everyone else rides another. I fly with him on his plane a lot. Sometimes just me and him in one of his cars or his SUVs. There's no part of that
right
after 21 years that we haven't discussed.
It must have been surreal for him though, like to be like, oh my God, I can't imagine.
I have a funny story to put it into perspective, and we're going to tie Bryan Adams into this. It was 1984 when Bret and all those guys went to LA.
Yeah.
Right? And Bret obviously knew Summer 69. Right? But between the release of Summer 69 and them moving to LA, having nothing, knowing nothing, Somebody came out, which is one of my
I love
favorite
that
Bryan
song.
Adams songs.
I
of
love
all
the
time.
guitar movement on that song.
Oh, dude, what the? It's
So good.
it's so great. But we do that at soundcheck a
Oh,
lot,
do you? Oh, cool.
and Brett's always like, "Why don't you play one of Bryan Adams' hits instead of that song?" I'm like, Brett, it's the second biggest hit he ever had, other than the Summer of '69. What are you talking about? And my point is, when they moved to LA and they didn't have TV and they didn't have anything and they were so focused on their own career, there's an
You
entire
missed.
year and a half of, and so now now after we had that conversation, I'll name certain songs to him in that 84 to 85 era that and they're not part of his history,
That's crazy.
because that's interesting to me. It's not that he doesn't like them. It's not that he
just
doesn't
missed them.
think that they're themselves. He just missed it because they were solely focused on themselves, their own sound, and they didn't have any money and they didn't have anything. And there's interesting. There's this window of hit songs between late 84 and 86 that he doesn't even know about. And it's fascinating to me.
That's fascinating to me. I can't even put that into perspective. But I mean, it wasn't me
because he was
doing it,
living-
right? So
He was sleeping on the floor of a laundromat, the back of a laundromat. They were sleeping on the floor of. They didn't have a TV. They didn't have the access. You know what I mean?
wow.
Yeah.
That's
But then it picks back up. Like he'll go. He loves the Scarecrow record from
I love that
Mellencamp,
record too.
which I think was probably 87 or 88. And all of a sudden there's just this gap. There's this gap in his entire history, not just music, because he was fighting to survive. And it's interesting to see that, because you think of Poison and you think of their pop culture, and you see them in pictures, whenever there's these collages about the 80s, and you see, people from certain TV shows and they put it all together. And those guys how many of those people in those pictures didn't even know who the other guys in those pictures are, because they were struggling for their own thing. It's a whole different version that I never thought of until I had these conversations with Bret.
Wow.
Eric's the same way. Brittingham, there's an entire set of the 80s music that he was a part of that he's not really aware or familiar with. We were fans.
Right.
We were bringing it up.
Yeah.
They were making their own music. And so it's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. And you figure, like, even when you're in the studio creating music, when you're writing, you're on the road, you're not, you're thinking about your music probably more than anybody else's.
That's it. Exactly. Right. But yeah, there's a million, there's stories I can't tell. They're Bret's stories.
Yeah, of course.
Man. They're Bret's.
Of course.
But I always say, and I say this in the MTV Famous book, is the for me, being a guy your age that got to very unique. It's almost like that Rockstar movie. My life is real similar to that, because I'm younger than all these guys, all my heroes, but I live in their world now. I have a perspective that not many people have, being such a gigantic fan and now living in that world. And I always say, of all the things, what I have is the answer to every question I ever had. That's worth more than the money to me. Everything I ever wanted, I know. And that's I don't know if there's a lot of other people like that, but I have those answers. I've spoke at length with Sammy Hagar, and I've spoke at length with Michael Anthony. I was friends with Ace Frehley. Bret Michaels is my best friend. Dee Snider is one of my good friends. I know the answers to everything I ever dreamed, and that's a fascinating perspective to have.
Yeah, and I can relate to some of that from doing the show, and like I mentioned that I just talked to Johnny D from Brittany Fox, and we text back and forth on occasion, and just the insight. There's certain things that I'm always interested in the music, more the music than the turmoil and
Yeah.
anything behind that, because I'm always fascinated by it. I mean, for instance, talking to him, I was like, the second album, your snare sounds mechanical. So he kind of explained that to me, why it was that way.
Yeah,
You know,
right. And what was the answer to that?
it was Neil Kernan, because he had just come off working with Queensryche on Rage for Order, and he was kind of going that digital
Yeah.
direction where he thought, like, that
Sure.
snare sounds, it just dies, right? You hit it, and there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
Where on the
Yeah,
first Britney Fox album, there's a whole lot of more liveliness to it, right?
There's more room and liveliness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
kind of those things that I love about the music and talking about it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I produce records, so I'm big into sounds and that kind of stuff. And snare drums are everything. I'll mix a record for 6 months solely on changing the snare drums around, and then you change the snare drum around, and then you have to move everything else into different places because of the space. There's a lot of frequency that happens in a snare drum, and you got to move everything around. Vocal and guitar act in a lot of that space too. Snare drum makes a record.
It totally does. Like, do you as a guy, as a producer or an engineer, like, do you have an album that you love the production on it so much that you kind of try and emulate that at any time?
Slippery and Wet is still amazing. Slippery, the way that Tico hits the ride.
Yes, I agree.
And its technique. I know Hugh McDonald very well, and Hugh's wife, and I know a lot of people in the Bon Jovi camp. I've been told the sticks, the cymbals. I've chased this fucking ride cymbal since I was 18 years old. That ride cymbal on Slippery.
That ride cymbal sound on "I Die for You," where he does a double hits on that ride cymbal at the end.
And Wild in the Streets and Let It Rock, and on Jersey, the ride cymbal on Jersey. It's great on all the records, but I've had the people that played on those records and made those records tell me what was used, and it still comes down to technique, because I have the samples of it. I was lucky enough to get my hand on the samples of the Slippery and Wet drums. I have the samples of the drums for Summer '69 or the Reckless record. I still use that to this day. My son Gavin, his song Wild, Young, and Free, even though we tweaked those drums, the kick and the snare are the samples from Reckless from somebody.
That's cool.
And,
that's awesome.
the Slippery When Wet record has some great stuff on it. The Nickelback records, nothing sounds like Nickelback records.
No, I
man.
agree.
Those are polished. Those are polished to a T. The Bryan Adams records, I still use Somebody as a reference. Obviously, you have to give the 40 years sonic things have changed. There's more bottom end. There's more, but when you dig into what's really happening in those records and you listen to them in a studio and they sound, you hear what they were sounding like back then. Hysteria,
Yes.
Slippery When Wet, Somebody, or Reckless. The Nickelback records, the Hailstorm records sound amazing.
I don't know if I've listened to a whole Hailstorm album before. I'm going to have to then.
They sound amazing. Green Day's records always sound great. The later Matchbox 20, that first Matchbox 20 record and the first City and the Blowfish record sound like crap. They were made as demos in non-pro studios before you could make records like that in your basement.
Is that Matt Surlett?
And
Is technically gets
I don't know
credit for that Matchbox.
I don't know, but the music was so much more important that you didn't think that the record didn't sound good unless you were an actual record producer. You know what I'm saying? But the later Matchbox 20 stuff,
The third album.
If You're Gone, or what is that?
If You're Gone, which is Mad Season, isn't it? Or is that on the third album? I can't remember. I think If You're Gone's on the second album, on Mad Season.
That song Bent.
Oh, I love that song. It's so good.
That record. That record sounds
It was
good.
such a difference, right?
Yeah.
They progressed, right?
Yeah. And that's I do only have a couple more minutes left, but you say that, and I want to say that that's what's wrong today. What you just said, they progressed. That is absolutely what we're missing. Is we grew up with Kiss, and the first record was terrible. Second record was better. Third record was better. We watched them get better.
Like Bon Jovi.
Van Halen got better. Bon Jovi got better. Those bands, Poison got better. From Cat Drag into Flesh and Blood, you watch the band get better. And nowadays, my kid's first song came out, and it's a better sounding record than anything. And then the second song came out, and it was top notch. I love my kid and I love his music, but it already sounds like it's top of the top. You don't get to grow. You got to grow with the Beatles, man. You got to grow with them. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't exist anymore. And that stopped a long time ago. Those guys in Firehouse, they're some of my best friends. Bill Everty is one of my best buddies in the world. That first Firehouse record was so good. There wasn't getting any better. So it was hard to, it became hard to, I think that's what's wrong with the industry today. Is everything is perfect already.
That's a good point. I never thought of that, Pete. That's a good but before I let you go, there's one album that production-wise, and it was done by John Purdell and Dwayne Barron, that I absolutely love. The production of it is the Tangier Stranded album. I
don't know it enough.
Yeah, the production on that is phenomenal, and
I would check out. Those Rat records sounded good too. Detonator.
Yes.
Detonator sounded great, man.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on about a whole bunch of them that I think, it progressed, right? Like late 90s, things really got better. Late 80s, I mean.
Right.
Like going into the 90s,
right.
the production got so much better.
Oh, yeah. Cherry Pie. What a great record.
I was just listening to Cherry Pie yesterday through headphones, even streaming, and I was like, Song and Dance Man, for instance, there's a lot of highs and lows on that song, like a lot of acoustic guitar, and then it gets heavier. It's just
a lot of dynamic. Great records.
Anyways, man, I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to share with me, or is there any more books coming?
I don't know. I will tell you this. Me and Eric Brittingham and Reb Beach are making music with this guy. He goes by Timules, like Hercules, right? And we write some music with him, and he writes these lyrics, and they're like nothing you've ever heard, and they're very powerful. And he does it spoken word, kind of halfway between William Shatner and Leonard Cohen. And he has some stuff. Tony Franklin plays on some of the stuff. Wow. Carmine Appice plays on some of the stuff. But for the most part, right now, me and Reb and Eric are writing this music for this guy. And the first time you hear it, you go, man, it makes you feel weird, and it makes you feel different. And you go, man, what was that? And then you listen again, and you listen again, and you listen again. And this guy's speaking voice is like the voice of God. It is so large, and we're putting a record together, and he's writing about, it's very social aware stuff and very important stuff. It's world changing stuff,
Yeah.
And I can't wait for people.
I can't wait to hear that. That sounds so intriguing. It just sounds. I mean,
it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but
that's okay.
In a world where nothing is unique anymore, this is unique.
Yeah. And that's the key word, is unique, because like you said, there's nothing that's really unique anymore.
Right. Yeah. And his name's Timules, and it's going to be cool stuff. And I can't wait for you to hear it.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear it. All right, man.
All
Well,
right.
thanks so much for your time, Pete.
Anytime. You got it,
Okay,
man.
you take care. Okay,
All right.
cheers.